Good evening. I'd like to thank all of the parents and the grandparents and the guardians for coming this evening to learn about our story, our commitment to your children and their education and ultimately their future. We realize that some of you traveled from great distances to be here, and some of you probably had to take some time off of work in your busy schedule and your busy lives. We thank you and we acknowledge that you have lots of stuff going on. We know that you're busy and we're busy too, but let's take the time to find out how we can make your children's school the best school that it can be. I would like to take the time now to talk about the Rich Hill Youth Development Center vision statement. What is a vision statement? Well, really, all a vision statement is a hope for the future. And our hope for RHYDC is to create one of Missouri's most effective Division of Youth Services schools, helping students who have not succeeded in traditional schools to prepare for academic advancement and completion. We realize that your children may have had trouble in public school. Maybe they didn't fit in well. Maybe it just wasn't the right time or the right place. We're not blaming the school and we're not blaming your children. We're just wanting to create a situation where your students, your children can advance and move on to whatever that next step in their life is for them, whether that is a vocational school or a traditional four-year university or straight to the work environment. We want to make your kid ready to compete. Now I would like to share with you Rich Hill Youth Development Center's mission statement. Really all our mission statement is our purpose for our existence. Rich Hill Youth Development Center's mission is to enable students to prepare for meaningful work, prepare for purposeful and respectful citizenship, and prepare for post-secondary learning opportunities using a combination of traditional classroom instruction, vocational instruction, and specific individualized treatment approaches. So what does that really mean? What that means is for the students that are close to graduation, we'd like for them to earn the credits to graduate under normal circumstances. For those students that know that they're going to go immediately out into the work environment, but they don't have enough credit, well, they don't really want to be super seniors, so we're going to try to get them a GED or completion somehow else. And that may be through like grad point or other some type of credit recovery program. So while the kids are at Rich Hill Youth Development Center, they're going to learn to weld. They're going to learn woodworking skills. They're going to learn basic carpentry. They're going to learn specific treatment approaches, how to get along with others. They're going to learn things like trauma-informed approaches and rational emotive behavior therapy. They're going to learn how to sit in a classroom and become engaged in the traditional classroom and experience in case they go back to regular public school. We realize that some of our students are still in junior high and they're going to go back to public school, and we want them to be prepared. So whether your child is in the sixth or seventh grade or 17 or 18 years old and ready to go out into that work world or university, we want them to be ready. You may be asking yourself, now that your child is at Rich Hill Youth Development Center, what are the things, what are the behaviors, beliefs, and actions that Rich Hill Youth Development Center staff value? And I would like to share with you that there are basically 5 pillars that we've highlighted to demonstrate, although they're not all inclusive, but they are important to understanding our primary values. And one of those pillars is equity. Equity is kind of like equality, but a little bit different. Equality is treating everybody exactly the same, and equity is the giving everyone what they need to be successful. We understand that your children are unique, and we don't believe in a one-size-fits-all model. So if your child comes to Rich Hill Youth Development Center needing a specific approach, we're ready here to provide it. We believe in inclusion, the action or state of including of or being included within our school whenever and wherever possible. The rule of thumb here is you better have a very good excuse for excluding someone from something, and you have to be able to defend it. I'd have to defend it to my boss, and I'd certainly have to defend it to you too. So whenever and wherever possible, your child's going to participate in everything just like everybody else, obviously with safety always being a primary concern. Another pillar is emotional learning, the ability to identify attitudes and skills needed to understand and manage emotions. Some of our children come here and they're really emotionally vulnerable. We want to teach them what are the different types of emotions that they're experiencing, allow them to be able to identify them, and we give them charts for doing so, and also how to manage them. Social learning is important for us as well. That's the development of essential skills for empathetic understanding of others, establishing and maintaining positive relationships, and making responsible decisions. After all, responsible decisions are important if you want to be able to remain in society. And also, and mainly, for the school component here at Richfield Youth Development Center, we're really concerned with the academic learning. That's the acquisition of knowledge or skills through experience, study, and being taught in a continuous, rigorous manner. We believe in experiential practice, we believe in independent study, and we believe in teachers digging in with students, working hard to teach them to the best of our ability. Part of the reason for meeting here tonight was to talk about what it is that we believe in, our core values, our mission, and our vision. But another very important piece of meeting here tonight is just to talk about the skills and attributes that we want to possess but need your help in establishing. Our short-term goals are to accelerate student success through increased collaboration with parents and increased electronic classroom instruction. Our long-term goals are to maximize data sources to increase student learning and to increase student engagement while decreasing behavioral outbursts. All these goals are worthwhile, and if we work together, we can manage to reach each of them. You may be wondering, how is it that we're going to reach our goals? And we do have a couple specific strategies for each goal that we've attached tonight, just as kind of a beginning place for reaching our goals. So if we go back to short-term goal number one, accelerate student success through increased collaboration with parents, one strategy sounds very simple, but it's just to ask. The number one reason people cite for not volunteering is that nobody asked them. So we're here tonight to ask you for your help. We'd like for you to volunteer and coming up with ways that we can help to accelerate your child's success. And strategy two is to build parental involvement by hosting Saturday workshops where parents and teachers collaborate to develop strategies for accelerating student success. We want to hear your ideas about how your kids learn best and how you think that other kids learn best. So if there's things that you've heard of in your home school districts that you would like to bring to our Saturday workshops, or anything that you have specific expertise in, or just something you found on the internet that you want to bring to the meeting, let's do it. Let's work together to increase student success. For short-term goal number two, increasing electronic classroom instruction, strategy one is to use our GradPoint platform to provide academic instruction for at least one class per day. We as teachers don't want to turn into proctors in the classroom, but there may be specific instruction that you believe your child would benefit from on the computer versus in the traditional classroom model. For some students, that's math. For other students, that may be some type of an elective. Strategy number two, identify and extend classroom practices that support an instructional focus. We would like to be able to extend those practices that work and, quite honestly, eliminate those that don't. And we would like for you to help us um, to make that strategy possible. At Richfield Youth Development Center, we desire to make the best data-driven decisions possible. For long-term goal number one, to maximize data sources to increase student learning, we want to have a strategy to identify essential skills, concepts, and cognitive demand for each data source that we're using so that we can use it optimally. For strategy number two, we want to collaboratively work in teams to identify strengths and weaknesses of individual students as well as their stage of proficiency. So we know where our students are at all times. It's hard for data to be used effectively if we don't both understand the data that we're using and how we're using it, as well as the students and where they're at in their stage of proficiency. For long-term goal number two of increasing student engagement while decreasing behavioral outbursts, one of our strategies is centered around project-based learning. We believe that students can be engaged in a complex and questioning manner that challenges them and extends their learning in ways that we're not quite reaching right now. That if we can keep students engaged, that behaviors will go down, that is, those negative behaviors that we don't want to see. And for strategy number two, we want to increase interest-based learning opportunities such as Genius Hour, where we can allow your children's creativity to explode and they can get involved in things that are really important to them, things that they're passionate about. You may be asking yourself, what is the urgency? Why do we need to act now? Well, as I said before, we want to make data-driven decisions to inform our approach, and so we must examine what the data tells us. So in order to meet these challenges, we need to understand that 70% of students have little keyboarding skills. And what I mean by that is that they're henpecking on the keyboards. They don't know where to take the mouse to find a certain program. They really don't know how to operate the computer outside of surfing the internet. 100% of students want more computer-based instruction. Students really behave at their best when they're on the computers, and although we need to make sure that we monitor them closely and wisely, that we can do so efficiently and effectively. All teachers report that they have not collaborated to the best of their ability with you guys, the parents. We're not here to blame you guys because certainly it's our job to reach out to you, and we want to do so however you want us to, whether that's through email, phone calls, face-to-face Saturday workshops, or whatever you come up with. We want to be here for you. Um, the best that we can be, not just through a parental involvement form or something of that nature. Only 8 students graduated from our HYDC last academic year. That means that we had a lot of kids that hit the street that had nothing. They might have went back to school for a while and then left for school for whatever reason, but we don't want your children to be one of those kids. We want to graduate all the kids that come through our doors that we can. Our average student reads on a 5th grade level. Imagine how hard your life is if you're reading that far below your grade level. Our average broad math scores at the 6th grade level, real close to that 5th grade level in reading. And our average high school student has less than 2 credits. It's hard to get to 24 if you're 17 years old and you don't want to be a super senior at 19 years old or 20 years old in a class. That can be really embarrassing and quite frankly just almost never happens. So simply put, our vision for improving Ritual Youth Development Center is to use data more wisely, to listen to parents in a more meaningful way, to use technology more in the classroom, to promote student engagement, to correctly identify student proficiency stages, and to maintain a focus on student learning continuously. Well, here's how we're going to monitor the progress to make sure that we're being held accountable for everything we're talking about tonight. We're going to send out parental surveys to you guys, and we're going to share those results with everybody. Let you tell us what it is that you think is working, not working, things that we need to add to, and things that we need to change. We're going to examine the test scores continuously. We're going to look at the graduation and completion numbers. We're going to ask the kids what's going on and things that they'd like to see added or detracted in those student surveys. We're going to have teacher surveys too to find out what their perspective is, and we're going to hold data meetings to continuously shape and drive our instructional practices. I would like to end the meeting tonight by first of all saying thank you to each of you for being here. Let you know that you matter to us, that we need your help, that after all, you are the expert regarding your child. We don't contend that we're the expert for your child. You certainly, you're their expert. And together that we can improve our school. If we work smarter and more effectively, we can create a school that not only we would be proud of, but that you and your children would be proud of. And we strive to be the best, not just in the Southwest region, but in the entire state of Missouri. Thank you for attending.